Okay, it's time to start working in clay and I'm super excited. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the materials that we're going to be using. I've got available for you to use dowel rods to use as ruling pins. We have basic wire end tools that are used for carving and removing clay. When you remove clay from a sculpture, it is called the subtractive process. I also have texture making tools like combs and things like that. Clay knives and other plastic tools to make marks in clay. Lastly, we have something called slip. Slip is like a muddy form of clay that is used as an adhesive. So I will show you how to slip and score. And the slip, it's actually used like a glue to stick and bond clay together. All right, clay itself is broken up rock, millions of years old, that has moisture in it, water in it. So it's used in a real soft form, but it's basically just made up of little pieces of rock and water. When you first get a piece of clay, it's super important that you knead and wedge your clay. So as you can see, I'm working on a canvas clay mat. It helps my clay not stick to the table, and it also kind of prevents less mess for cleanup. It helps keep the room a little bit cleaner. So I'm going to go ahead and knead and wedge my clay. I'm folding the clay over and I'm squishing the clay into itself. By doing that, I am getting all the air bubbles out of the clay. I cannot have any air pockets. Let me explain that. So basically, if you have little air pockets in your clay, and you go to put your clay after it's all dried out into the kiln, which is the big oven that we cook the clay in at like 2,000 degrees. We cook cookies at like 350 degrees. We cook clay at like 2,000 degrees sometimes. When the clay has air bubbles in it trapped, goes into a kiln, it gets heated up and it gets really hot. The air actually expands as it gets hotter. So if it's in a space this small and it wants to expand and get bigger, it's going to actually push out of the project and break your project, possibly explode your project, which is not a good situation. So that's why we always knead and wedge our clay. And I like to stand up when I do it to give myself some more muscle strength. Sometimes your clay will get a little dry. The canvas mat will absorb some of the moisture from your clay, so you might need to add just a little bit of water or slip to it to make it a little bit more moist and a little bit easier to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and knead and wedge for a couple minutes and then I'm going to be ready to begin.